I'm always watching our Google reviews. If we have a negative review, I'm going to figure out why, and I'm going to make sure the right person gets in contact with this customer to make it right. Sometimes a negative review gets posted because of a misunderstanding. That happened last week. And in this particular case, we called the customer, cleared up the issue, and by the end of the day, the 1-star review had been changed to a 5-star review. And I'm always replying to positive reviews, thanking our customers for sharing their feedback. And I think that goes a long way to build trust when you can Google us and see that we're constantly engaging with our customers in this way. If there's an issue, you can see we are working to make it right.
This is the Snowball Effect. You're listening to the Marketing Playbook series, presented by the Snowball Effect podcast. It's growth done right.
Hey, this is Todd Jensen, and welcome to the Snowball Effect. I am really excited today to have Jacob Dimpsey here. He's a marketing and sales leader over at Renu Solar and Roofing. And welcome to the podcast, Jacob. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I want to jump right in, Jacob, and give everybody just a little bit of a flavor about what brought you to Renu Solar and Roofing.
Mhm. Yeah, so my journey to Renew began when I graduated college in 2020. My degree is in creative writing and I have a minor in philosophy, so I wasn't expecting to have a ton of job prospects when I graduated, but factor in a global pandemic and it was tough sledding out there. I knew I wanted to work in marketing because that was the most obvious application for my degree, but so I was applying for copywriting and social media jobs, but nothing was panning out. At the same time, I knew of someone who worked as a sales rep for another solar company, and I heard he was doing well. Finally, after working at Walmart all summer and passing a big green Renew Solar billboard on my way home from work every day, I decided to try canvassing. I interviewed with our outreach manager, Ryan. Shout out to Ryan, he's the best. And even though it was way outside of my comfort zone, I started knocking doors and setting sales appointments. And I did that for 3 months. It was a great experience. I gained a lot of confidence and interpersonal skills, but it started getting cold out and I wanted to move inside into the heated office. So they moved me into the call center and I thrived there. I loved it. Since then, I've been fortunate enough to move up in the department and I'm now the inbound leads manager and I get to work with you guys.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's so much good stuff there, Jacob. So, first of all, creative writing and philosophy. Okay, we're cut
Yes.
from the same cloth because that's exactly my kind of jam. So, you go from creative writing and philosophy to knocking doors and selling Renew Solar and Roofing. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yep. And
What
I did not picture myself doing that at all. Like I said, it was completely out of my comfort zone, but I needed to push myself. I needed to get out from my current job and try something new.
Well, I love it. And then that call center experience. So, all that creative writing, I can imagine that's very helpful in marketing and things that you're doing now. Jacob, will you take a second and just tell us a little bit about its history and its mission statement?
Yeah. So we are a roofing and solar company based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We service all of central and southeast Pennsylvania as well as northern Maryland. Renew began as a home improvement company in 2012. We did projects like roofing and siding while also dabbling in solar here and there. But it was really in 2017 that we shifted to being a strictly roofing and solar company. We rebranded from Home Renew to Renew Solar and Roofing. And one of the first houses we installed solar on was actually Adam, our CEO's mom's house. And we've been growing ever since from there. And our mission statement is to deliver a positive impact while empowering our people and planet by driving the adoption of solar energy. I have that written on my over my cubicle here. Most of us do.
And what would you say makes Renew different?
So first of all, we are vertically integrated. Everything from lead conversion to sales to permitting, installation and maintenance is all done in-house. We only subcontract in certain instances, such as tree removal, and in marketing, of course, we have partnerships like our partnership with Snowball for lead generation. Now, but this is pretty rare in the solar industry from what I've observed. Many companies subcontract their installations. We actually get calls pretty frequently from companies in Texas or Florida asking us to do installs for them in Pennsylvania. In many cases, their sales reps are also independent contractors. And some of these sales reps, they'll operate under an LLC and then they get the sale and then they shop around for an actual installer to do the project for them. Also, we have a roofing division. A lot of people want to replace their roof and go solar at the same time, and having one company who's able to coordinate both projects and who can warranty both the system and the roof and do repairs on both if something happens makes life a lot easier for the customer. And at the end of the day, that is our number one goal. Another thing that sets us apart is we have a lot of rural customers. Most of central Pennsylvania is rural. Solar companies tend to target the suburbs, and we do too, of course, but we embrace the unique challenges that come with servicing the areas that other solar companies tend not to. It's common for us to install systems on barns, pole buildings, and garages. We also install a lot of ground mount systems, which really can only be done in rural areas.
What are the common questions that your customers are asking about solar?
The number one question I get asked is, how will this save me money? And the way I always answer that is to say, our goal is to design a system that will eliminate your electric bill. In place of that electric bill, we want to get you set up with low monthly payments toward the panels with no upfront costs or down payments. So that way you can save money from day one. We also help you take advantage of the federal tax credit and the state incentives that are involved with going solar this year in order to maximize your savings. And that's my elevator pitch. And of course, the savings you'll see is going to depend on your roof sun exposure and your roof size. So that usually I'll then start asking them questions about their electric bill and their roof.
I love it. That makes a lot of sense. Like,
Yeah,
how's this going to impact my pocketbook? I can see that
exactly.
being a big question that people care about.
Yeah. And another question I get a lot is, will this damage my roof? In response, I'll usually explain how we use a low profile eco fastener to mount the panels to the roof. It's very non invasive to the structure of the roof. Also, industry wide roof damage due to solar installation is pretty rare. But then I'll reiterate how we are a solar and roofing company. So we have expertise in both fields, which makes us uniquely trustworthy when it comes to protecting the roof during installation and maintaining it if, God forbid, something were to happen to the roof during the life of the panels.
That makes a lot of sense. And here at Snowball, we really pride ourselves that our platform really works best for companies that are customer centric, right? Customers that really understand that the beating heart of their business are those that they serve. So tell me a little bit how Renew, what do they do to be customer centric?
Yeah, so in marketing, in my department, generally speaking, I think it can be easy to see people only as leads that need to be converted to sales. But what we do in our department at Renew to resist that tendency is we have an in-depth pre-qualification process. When we reach out to a homeowner who has requested more information about going solar, we don't just set them up for a sales appointment right away. First, we ask a series of questions about their electric usage and their roof to make sure that going solar will be financially beneficial for them. And throughout the conversation, we often find out if the customer is planning on selling their house soon, or if they don't have any tax liability, or if their HOA doesn't allow solar on a certain part of the roof. All of these things will factor into whether or not solar will be financially beneficial for them. And we're always very upfront with the homeowner if we don't think we can save them money because we want them to know that we have their best interest in mind. We're not going to try to sell them on solar if we don't think we can save them money. Also, on the customer service end, we have a department of project coordinators whose entire job is to make sure every solar project is completed with excellence, all while keeping the customer up to date at every stage. When you decide to go solar with Renew, you have a project coordinator assigned to you, and the project coordinator makes sure your project reaches every stage on time, and they make sure that you are kept in the loop and that any questions or concerns you may have along the way are addressed. I've been doing this for a while, and I've heard of solar companies that when you sign with them, you don't hear anything from them until the day they show up to install your solar system. We don't want to be like that. We want our customers to have an open line of communication with us at all times and be able to feel empowered by being involved in the pre-install process.
You said a lot of things there that I really resonate with. And one is these open, candid conversations and these honest conversations that you have with customers. I think you're the perfect person to answer this because you've been involved in selling, you've been involved at the call center level, you've been involved in the marketing there at Renew. Help me understand, what does Renew do to build trust throughout the entire customer journey, from the first time they hear about you until they've been a customer for a long, long time? What do you do throughout that journey to build trust?
Yeah. So I have a long answer because I want to take you through the whole journey.
Hit me with it.
Um,
I want to hear it.
yeah. So at the very beginning, the customer journey begins with us in the marketing department, where the first impression a potential customer has of Renew. And before they even speak to any of our call center agents, they're probably researching us on Google or on Best Company. So first, we want to make sure we're putting our best foot forward. I'm always watching our Google reviews. If we have a negative review, I'm going to figure out why, and I'm going to make sure the right person gets in contact with this customer to make it right. Sometimes a negative review gets posted because of a misunderstanding. That happened last week. And in this particular case, we called the customer, cleared up the issue, and by the end of the day, the 1-star review had been changed to a 5-star review. And I'm always replying to positive reviews, thanking our customers for sharing their feedback. And I think that goes a long way to build trust when you can Google us and see that we're constantly engaging with our customers in this way. If there's an issue, you can see we are working to make it right. From there, if they call in, we move to the pre-qualification process where we build trust by making sure their home would be a good fit for solar and that we're not trying to sell them something that wouldn't benefit them. Then, when the customer meets with the sales rep, they are presented with 3 different ways to go solar. They can finance, they can do a power purchase agreement, or they can pay cash. Many solar companies push one option over the other, particularly the power purchase agreement, and they don't even give the customer the option to finance or pay cash. But we present all options and let the customer decide what will be best for them. We also use industry-leading software for our estimates and for our modeling production. This allows us to put a production guarantee in our contracts so that our customers have the peace of mind knowing that in addition to the panels having a standard 25-year warranty, they will produce the amount of electricity we say they will produce. I already discussed our project coordinators, but it's worth reiterating that they're there to build customer trust, to keep that line of communication open. Going solar isn't always a smooth process. Sometimes there's setbacks or hiccups throughout the pre-install process. But when a setback happens, the project coordinators are the ones who call the customer, explain what happened, and crucially, they explain what we are doing to keep the project moving forward. And those are the biggest moments, I think, that build trust when we are openly communicating and making a setback move forward. And once the pre-installation process is complete, finally the customer reaches the day of install. It's the day that one of our installation crews goes out to their house to begin work. This is the day the customer has been waiting for. They've been on the phone with their project coordinators for months getting updates, and it's all been leading up to this. So it's important that our crews are trustworthy and represent our values. And we recently got a video testimonial, which is posted on our Best Company page, where the customer gushed about the crew that installed our system. She said they were knowledgeable, they were professional, and very respectful of her and her property, and she couldn't be happier with the final product. And that was just great to hear because I'm in marketing. I never really see that side of the business, but that is the most important part of the business where the trust is rewarded. And that's how customer referrals are generated. And then the customer journey doesn't end there. We have a dedicated team in our maintenance department. Sometimes things happen, an inverter might go out or a storm might damage a panel. In cases like those, we have a process to address these issues and maintain customer trust throughout the life of the solar system.
How I would distill that, Jacob, is it really sounds like that the team there has been really intentional at every single possible touch point to say, how can we infuse trust here? Even to the level that you pulled out of getting a review that maybe wasn't so hot and the way you respond to that. What an authentic way of responding to that. This brings me back. Okay, I'm going to have an old man moment here and tell you about the early days of the internet. I worked for eBay. This was back when they were kicking Amazon's butt. And it was like people didn't even, I mean, Amazon was an upstart and eBay was the big dog. Anyway, I worked there and I was training some of the biggest sellers and showing them how their reputation could be so valuable. And I
Mhm.
remember I showed up on a screen behind me to this room full of power sellers, this bad review that a seller had gotten. But then I showed them how this particular seller had responded to that review and how authentic they were. And they said, you know what? You're exactly right. We dropped the ball on this one.
Mhm.
How can I make it right? Let me do this and this and this to make it right. After I showed everybody that, somebody raised their hand from the audience, one of the sellers, and said, I want to get that bad review just so I can come in and respond to it and look like a problem solver and look so
Hmm.
authentic. So even at the moment of reviews, taking that as an opportunity to say, you know what, we can make it better. And this can be an opportunity for us to build trust. So I love that at every touch point. Let me pick your brain here for a second. You're in marketing. I'm in marketing. I want to get some advice from you. So, just what advice would you have for other marketers in the solar industry?
Yeah, so the solar industry has to constantly evolve to keep up with the rapidly growing demand as well as the changes and improvements in its tech. So your marketing should be constantly evolving as well. Another piece of advice I would have is keep it fun. Our slogan is we put it where the sun does shine. So people see that and they immediately get a sense of who we are and what we're about. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but we do take solar seriously.
That's great advice. And let me ask you some personal advice now. What's the most valuable lesson that you've learned in your career up to this point that you think that entrepreneurs and business leaders could learn from?
So this might sound a little cliche, but I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is the importance of taking risks and going outside of your comfort zone. When I was going to school, I never had any desire to knock doors. That was not at all what I imagined myself doing after college. I'm a pretty introverted person by nature, but taking that canvassing position in the summer of 2020, which put me very outside of my comfort zone, ended up being one of the best things I ever did. And even though I was only in that position for a few months, it led to new opportunities and growth within the company.
I love it. From creative writing and philosophy major, now here you are working in marketing at a solar industry. Life's journeys definitely be unique, but a lot of fun. Hey, that was great. Thanks for letting me pick your brain a little bit about Renew, but then also just to get personal advice in marketing and in entrepreneurship and as people build their careers. Jacob, if anyone wants to get a hold of you or contact Renew directly, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is to email me at jdempsey@renewcompany.com. And if you want to contact the company generally, our website is renew-solar.com, and we have a contact us page.
Hey, Jacob, thanks for joining the podcast today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Everybody, thanks for joining today, this Snowball Effect podcast. We had a blast talking to Jacob. And for all of us here at Snowball, we'll see you next time.